Jake Morrison walked through the long white halls of Station Harmony. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. The station was huge, floating in space above Earth like a giant metal city. Alien beings from across the galaxy came here to talk and make deals. For 200 years, humans had been the ones who kept peace between all the different species. Jake stopped at a big window and looked down at Earth. The blue and green planet looked peaceful from up here. He could see the lights of cities twinkling in the dark parts where it was night. This was home. This was what he worked to protect every day. "Ambassador Morrison, they are ready for you," said a voice behind him. Jake turned around to see Lisa Hayes walking toward him. She was wearing the blue uniform of the Human Relief Corps. Her face looked tired. She had just come back from another mission to help aliens who were fighting each other. "How did it go with the crystal people and the water people?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. "Same as always. They both want the same planet. They both think they deserve it more. They expect us to fix everything for them. When I suggested they share the planet, they both laughed at me." Jake nodded. He had heard this story many times before. The galaxy was full of different species who could not get along. They fought over planets, trade routes, and resources, but when things got bad, they always called for humans to come and fix their problems. "The council meeting is starting soon," Lisa said. "Are you ready?" Jake straightened his diplomatic uniform and nodded. "Let's go make peace again." They walked to the council chamber, a massive room with seats for representatives from 47 different species. The room was shaped like a bowl, with Earth's section at the bottom and all the alien sections rising up around them. It was supposed to show that humans were at the center of galactic peace. Jake took his seat and looked around the room. The Kethran Empire had sent their usual representative, a tall creature with sharp teeth and red eyes. They always looked angry about something. The Zephyrian Commonwealth was there too, with their bird-like faces and colorful feathers. They acted friendly, but Jake knew they only cared about making money. The Talnari Federation sat in their special section. They were supposed to be humanity's closest allies. Their representative, a tall being with silver skin, nodded at Jake. But Jake had heard rumors that the Talnari were not as friendly as they pretended to be. The meeting started with the usual complaints. The crystal people, called the Veltar, were upset about mining rights. The water people, the Nefki, wanted help with their trade problems. 3 other species were asking for human doctors to help with diseases on their planets. Jake listened and took notes. Every problem was the same. Species A was mad at Species B. They wanted humans to fix it. They never offered to pay for human help. They never said thank you. They just expected humans to solve their problems for free. Far below the station, on EIM, Mars, Dr. Ben Carter was working in his laboratory. He was looking at samples from the latest alien disease outbreak. The Rigelian people had sent desperate messages asking for help. Their children were dying from a virus that human doctors could cure easily. Ben had been working for 36 hours straight. His team was tired, but they kept going. They always kept going when aliens needed help. Ben's assistant, a young woman named Nancy White, brought him another cup of coffee. "Doctor, why do we always drop everything to help them?" Nancy asked. "Last month, when our colony on Titan had that accident, did any of them offer to help us? No. But the minute they have a problem, they expect us to fix it." Ben looked up from his microscope. Nancy was right, but he had been taught that helping others was the right thing to do. "We help because we can," he said. "That's what makes us human." Nancy frowned but went back to work. Ben knew she was not the only human who was getting tired of always helping others who never helped back. In the outer parts of human space, Captain Amy Rodriguez was patrolling the trade routes in her ship, the New Dawn. Her job was to keep pirates away from the cargo ships that carried goods between different worlds. It was dangerous work. Pirates had faster ships and better weapons, but human patrol ships did the job anyway. Amy's communication officer, a man named Carlos Brown, turned to her with a worried look. "Captain, we got a distress call, a Zephyrian. Cargo ship is under attack near the Kepler system." "How many pirate ships?" Amy asked. "Looks like 5. They have the cargo ship surrounded." Amy made a quick decision. Set course for Kepler. Full speed. It would take them 2 hours to reach the cargo ship. By then, the pirates might be gone with their prize. But Amy would try anyway. That was what humans did. They tried to help, even when it was dangerous. When they reached the Kepler system, they found the Zephyrian ship badly damaged. The pirates were loading cargo onto their own ships. Amy's ship was smaller and had fewer weapons, but she attacked anyway. The fight lasted 20 minutes. Amy's crew was better trained than the pirates. They drove the attackers away and saved the cargo ship. 3 of Amy's crew members were hurt in the battle. The Zephyrian captain thanked Amy over the radio, but his voice sounded bored, like he expected humans to risk their lives for him. Like it was normal for humans to get hurt protecting alien cargo. Back on Station Harmony, Jake was finishing another long day of meetings. The aliens had argued about everything. They wanted humans to send more doctors, more peacekeepers, more aid ships. They wanted humans to solve their problems, but they did not want to pay for it. As Jake walked back to his quarters, he thought about what Lisa had said. The aliens expected humans to fix everything. They had been doing it for so long that everyone thought it was normal. Humans were the helpers. Humans were the ones who cleaned up messes. But what if humans stopped helping? What would happen then? Jake shook his head. Humans could not stop helping. It was not in their nature. They were the peacemakers of the galaxy. They were the ones who kept everyone from destroying each other, even if no one ever thanked them for it. The alarm bells were ringing all over Station Harmony when Jake Morrison woke up. Red lights flashed in his room, and the station's computer voice kept repeating the same message over and over. Emergency alert. Emergency alert. All diplomatic. Staff report to command center. Jake jumped out of bed and put on his uniform as fast as he could. He ran through the halls where other humans were doing the same thing. Everyone looked worried and confused. Nothing like this had happened in years. When Jake reached the command center, he saw Lisa Hayes standing in front of a big screen. Her face was white as paper. Other human officers were talking quickly into their communication devices. The screen showed a planet that looked like Earth, with blue oceans and green land. But something was wrong. There were dark spots all over the planet where fires were burning. What is happening? Jake asked. Lisa turned to him with tears in her eyes. It's New Eden. The Kethran Empire attacked them 3 hours ago. They came without warning. They're destroying everything. New Eden was one of humanity's newest colonies. It was home to 50,000 humans who had built farms and cities on a beautiful world. Jake had visited there last year. He remembered the green fields and happy families. Now it was burning. How many ships did they send? Jake asked. 200 warships, said General Patricia Brooks, walking up to them. She was the head of Earth's defense forces. They hit the orbital stations first, then started bombing the cities. Our defense fleet is 6 hours away. Jake felt sick. 6 hours was too long. By then, most of the people on New Eden would be dead. On New Eden, Colony Administrator Steve Walsh was hiding in an underground bunker with his family. The bunker shook every time the Kethran ships dropped bombs on the city above them. His wife Sarah held their 2 children close to her. The kids were crying and asking why the bad aliens were hurting them. Steve tried to send messages to Earth begging for help. But most of the communication towers had been destroyed in the first wave of attacks. He could only send short messages that he hoped someone would hear. Please help us, he said into his radio. They're killing everyone. The children, the old people, everyone. They don't care who they hurt. Above ground, the Kethran soldiers were walking through the burning city. They wore black armor and carried weapons that could burn through metal. They were not just destroying buildings. They were taking everything valuable and loading it onto their ships. Food, medicine, machines, even art from the Human Museum. A Kethran commander with golden teeth walked through the main street of the city. Bodies of humans lay everywhere. He stepped over them like they were garbage. To him, humans were just weak creatures who had things he wanted. Captain Amy Rodriguez was on her ship when the call for help came. She was supposed to be patrolling, near the Rigel system, but when she heard about New Eden, she changed course immediately. She knew it would take too long to get permission from Earth Command. "Carlos, set course for New Eden, maximum speed," she ordered. "Captain, we're not supposed to leave our patrol area without orders," Carlos said. Amy looked at him with hard eyes. "There are 50,000 humans dying on that planet. I don't care about patrol orders." Her ship was small and fast. She could get to New Eden in 4 hours if she pushed the engines hard. She called other human ships in the area. 6 other captains answered and said they would come too. Back on Station Harmony, Jake was trying to get help from the Galactic Council. He called an emergency meeting and asked all the alien representatives to come. When they arrived, many of them looked bored. Some were eating snacks during the meeting. "The Kethran Empire has attacked a human colony," Jake said. 50,000 innocent people are under attack right now. We need the Council to authorize military action to stop this." The Council speaker, a bug-like creature named Zixathera, waved one of her many arms. "Ambassador Morrison, violence is never the answer. We must pursue diplomatic solutions. Have you tried talking to the Kethran Empire?" Jake could not believe what he was hearing. They are bombing cities full of children right now. What diplomatic solution stops bombs? The Talnari representative, who was supposed to be humanity's friend, spoke up. "Perhaps we could arrange a meeting next week to discuss this situation." "Next week?" Jake shouted. "By next week, everyone on New Eden will be dead." The Zephyrian representative looked at his claws like he was bored. "These things happen sometimes. Maybe the humans on New Eden did something to make the Kethran Empire angry." Jake felt his hands shaking with anger. These aliens were talking about 50,000 human lives like they were discussing the weather. They did not care at all. The Council voted to impose trade sanctions on the Kethran Empire. This meant they would not buy as many things from them for a few months. Jake knew this would not stop the attack. The Kethran Empire was rich and powerful. They would not care about losing some trade deals. Captain Rodriguez reached New Eden just as the sun was setting on the burning planet. What she saw made her sick to her stomach. Whole cities were gone. The orbital stations were twisted metal floating in space. Her scanner showed thousands of Kethran ships taking everything they could carry. "Captain, I'm getting life signs from the underground bunkers," Carlos reported. "There are still people alive down there." Amy immediately started planning a rescue mission. Her small fleet of 7 ships could not fight 200 Kethran warships, but they could save some people. For the next 6 hours, Amy and her crews worked to rescue as many humans as they could. They landed their ships near the bunkers and loaded people onto transport shuttles. The Kethran forces were too busy stealing things to pay much attention to the small rescue ships. Amy saved 3,000 people that night, but that meant 47,000 had died. When the rescue ships reached the last bunker, Amy found Steve Walsh and his family. Steve was holding his dead wife in his arms. She had been killed when part of the bunker collapsed from the bombing. His children were hurt but alive. "They killed her," Steve said to Amy. "They killed my Sarah. She was a teacher. She never hurt anyone." "Why did they kill her?" Amy did not have an answer. She helped Steve and his children onto her ship and flew them to safety. Dr. Ben Carter arrived at New Eden 2 days later with his medical ships. He had been told to help the survivors. What he found was worse than any nightmare. The planet was empty now. The Kethran ships had taken everything valuable and left. All that remained were burned cities and mass graves. Ben and his medical team worked for days to treat the 3,000 survivors. Many of the people Amy had saved were badly hurt. Some had lost their families. Others had lost everything they owned. Ben did his best to heal their bodies, but he could not heal their hearts. "Doctor," said Nancy White, "I sent requests to our alien allies for medical supplies. The Talnari Federation said they're too busy. The Zephyrian Commonwealth said they don't have enough supplies to spare. The Rigelian Union said we should ask someone else." Ben stared at her. These were the same aliens that humanity had helped countless times. When they had needed doctors, humans had come. When they had needed food, humans had sent it. When they had needed protection, humans had provided it. Now when humans needed help, the aliens were too busy. Jake Morrison stood in the council chambers one more time. He had been trying for weeks to get the council to do something about the Attack on New Eden. The Kethran Empire had not even been punished. They had paid a small fine and promised not to attack human colonies again. Everyone knew they were lying. The worst part came when Jake learned the truth about the Talnari Federation. His spies told him that the Talnari had signed a secret deal with the Kethran Empire. They would buy the stolen goods from New Eden in exchange for rare metals. Humanity's oldest allies had made money from the deaths of 47,000 humans. That night, Jake sent a message to Earth. It was short and simple. They have shown us who they really are. They think we are weak. They think we will always forgive them. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Admiral Jack Norton walked into the underground meeting room beneath the city of Geneva on Earth. The room was deep underground, protected by thick metal walls and electronic shields. No alien spy could hear what was said here. Around the big table sat the most important humans in the galaxy. President Helen Foster sat at the head of the table. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, and her eyes looked tired but angry. She had been awake for 3 days straight, reading reports about New Eden and making hard decisions about humanity's future. "The numbers are clear," said General Patricia Brooks, putting papers on the table. "We have been giving aid to 47 different alien species for 200 years. We have spent trillions of credits helping them. We have lost thousands of human lives protecting them, and when we needed help, they turned their backs on us." Jake Morrison was there too. He had just returned from Station Harmony, where he had resigned his position as ambassador. The Galactic Council has made their position clear. They think the attack on New Eden was our fault. They think we should have been nicer to the Kethran Empire. Dr. Ben Carter spoke up from his seat. "I have been keeping track of our medical aid programs. In the last 10 years, we have cured 17 different alien diseases. We have saved millions of alien lives. When I asked for medical supplies to help the New Eden survivors, they all said no." Admiral Norton looked around the table at each person. These were good people who had spent their lives helping others. Now they looked angry and hurt. The galaxy had broken their trust. "What do you recommend, Admiral?" President Foster asked. Norton stood up and walked to a big screen on the wall. He pressed a button and a map of the galaxy appeared. It showed human space in blue and alien territories in different colors. "I recommend we implement Operation Withdrawal," Norton said. "We pull back all our people from alien space. We close our borders. We stop helping them with their problems, let them see what the galaxy looks like without humans to fix everything." President Foster looked at each person around the table. "This is a big decision. Once we start this, we cannot go back. The aliens will not trust us again." "They already don't trust us," Jake said. "They think we are weak. They think we will always forgive them no matter what they do to us." "What about the humans living in alien space?" asked Dr. Carter. "We have doctors, teachers, and workers on hundreds of alien worlds. We bring them all home," Norton replied. "Every human in alien space comes back to human territory, no exceptions." The vote was unanimous. Operation Withdrawal would begin immediately. The first thing humans did was recall all their ambassadors. Jake Morrison walked into the Galactic Council chambers one last time. The alien representatives were there for their regular meeting, talking about trade deals and border disputes. Jake stood at the human podium and looked up at all of them. These creatures had ignored human suffering. They had made jokes about human weakness. They had betrayed human trust. "Members of the Galactic Council," Jake said in a calm voice, "I am here to inform you that humanity is withdrawing from all galactic affairs. Effective immediately, all human diplomatic missions are closed. All human aid programs are canceled. All human peacekeeping forces are returning to human space." The chamber went quiet. The aliens looked confused. The council, Speaker Zixthera waved her arms nervously. "Ambassador Morrison, surely this is just a negotiating tactic. You cannot be serious about withdrawing from galactic affairs." Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "I am no longer Ambassador Morrison. I am now Minister of Retribution. And yes, we are completely serious." The Talnari representative stood up. "You cannot abandon your responsibilities to the galaxy, who will mediate our disputes. You will have to learn to solve your own problems," Jake replied. "The same way Humans have been solving theirs for thousands of years. The Zephyrian representative looked worried. What about the trade agreements? What about the medical aid programs? All canceled, Jake said. Find someone else to solve your problems. He walked out of the chamber and never looked back. Captain Amy Rodriguez was busy with the biggest evacuation in galactic history. She commanded a fleet of transport ships that were bringing humans home from alien worlds. Every human doctor, teacher, engineer, and worker was being recalled to human space. On the planet Vega Prime, Amy's ships landed at the human medical station. Dr. Susan Clark had been working there for 15 years, treating alien diseases and training alien doctors. She had saved thousands of lives. Dr. Clark, you have 6 hours to pack your personal belongings, Amy told her. Everything else stays here. What about my patients? Dr. Clark asked. I have aliens in the hospital who will die without treatment. That is not our problem anymore, Amy said. You are coming home whether you want to or not. Dr. Clark looked sad, but she started packing. Amy's soldiers began destroying the medical equipment so the aliens could not use it. Computers were wiped clean. Medicine was loaded onto human ships or destroyed. The same thing was happening on every world where humans worked. Research stations were abandoned. Diplomatic posts were closed. Aid distribution centers were shut down. Humans took what they could carry and destroyed the rest. Dr. Ben Carter was in charge of the most important part of the withdrawal. He had to make sure that all human medical knowledge was protected. For 200 years, humans had shared their medical discoveries with alien species. Now that had to stop. Activate Protocol 0, Ben ordered his assistant Nancy White. Nancy looked shocked. Protocol 0 was something they had hoped never to use. It meant destroying all medical research that aliens could use. Decades of work would be wiped out in minutes. Doctor, are you sure about this? Nancy asked. They had their chance to help us, Ben said. They chose not to. Now they can solve their own medical problems. Computer servers were wiped clean. Research files were deleted. Even the backup copies hidden in deep space were destroyed. Alien species that had relied on human medical knowledge for generations would now have to start over from the beginning. Within 3 days, every human had left alien space. The galaxy suddenly felt very empty. On the planet Rigel, where a disease was killing thousands of aliens every day, the local government sent desperate messages to Earth. They begged for the cure that Dr. Carter had developed months earlier. The reply came from the new Human Ministry of Retribution. It was short and simple. Medical assistance unavailable. Consult your local healers. The Rigelian government panicked. They offered to pay huge amounts of money for the cure. They promised to be better allies to humanity. They even offered to make Jake Morrison their planetary ruler if he would help them. The answer was always the same. No. On the trade routes between star systems, pirate attacks increased by 300%. Without human patrol ships to stop them, pirates could attack cargo vessels freely. The Zephyrian Commonwealth lost 50 cargo ships in the first week. They sent angry messages to Earth demanding that human patrol ships return to their duties. Admiral Norton's reply was simple: hire your own security. The Veltar and Nefki species, who had been arguing over mining rights for decades, started shooting at each other. Without human mediators to keep them talking, their border dispute turned into a full war. Both sides sent messages to Earth asking for peacekeepers. The answer was always the same: solve your own problems. The Galactic Council tried to meet without human representatives, but they could not agree on anything. Every species wanted something different. Every decision led to more arguments. Meetings that used to last hours now went on for days with no results. Council Speaker Zixthera sent a personal message to President Foster. Surely we can work out our differences. The galaxy needs human leadership. We are willing to negotiate. President Foster's reply was broadcast to every alien world. You had 200 years to treat us with respect. You chose to treat us like servants. Now you can learn to live without us. The effects of human withdrawal spread quickly through the galaxy. Alien species that had not fought wars in decades started attacking their neighbors. Planets that had been peaceful for generations erupted in violence. Trade routes that had been safe for centuries became dangerous. The galaxy was learning what it meant to live without human help. And it was not going well. On Earth, humans watched the news from alien space with cold satisfaction. They saw the wars starting. They saw the diseases spreading. They saw the chaos growing. But they also saw something else. They saw alien governments getting desperate. They saw alien species starting to panic. They saw the galaxy beginning to understand what they had lost. Admiral Norton stood in his office looking at reports from across the galaxy. Every day brought news of more conflicts, more disasters, more chaos. The galaxy was falling apart without human intervention. "Sir," said his assistant, a young officer named Kevin Brown. "The Talnari Federation is asking for a meeting. They say they want to apologize for what happened." Norton looked at the message for a long moment. Then he deleted it. "Too late," he said quietly. "Far too late." 2 years had passed since humanity withdrew from galactic affairs. The galaxy was no longer the peaceful place it had been when humans kept the peace. Wars were breaking out everywhere. Trade routes were controlled by pirates. Alien governments were falling apart. Admiral Jack Norton stood in the command center of Earth's newest military base on the moon. Through the big windows, he could see the construction yards where human workers were building new warships. These were not the peaceful patrol boats and medical ships that humans used to build. These were warships designed for one purpose: to destroy alien fleets. "Admiral, the new fleet is ready for testing," said Commander Lisa Hayes. She was no longer running humanitarian missions. Now she commanded Strike Group Alpha, a force of 20 warships armed with weapons that could crack planets open. Norton nodded and walked to the tactical display. The screen showed detailed information about every alien military in the galaxy. For 200 years, humans had been studying alien technology, learning their weaknesses, understanding how their ships and weapons worked. The aliens had shared this information freely, thinking humans were their friends. Now that knowledge would be used against them. "What is the status of our intelligence network?" Norton asked. "Complete," replied Colonel Frank Lee, head of human military intelligence. "We have detailed maps of every alien military base, every fleet position, every weapon storage facility. We know their codes, their tactics, their supply lines. They have no secrets from us." Norton smiled grimly. While aliens had seen humans as weak peacekeepers, human intelligence agents had been everywhere. They had worked as doctors in alien hospitals, teachers in alien schools, engineers in alien shipyards. They had learned everything there was to know about alien societies. The aliens had made a fatal mistake. They had trusted humans completely while never trusting humans at all. On the planet New Sparta, Captain Tony Lewis was training the new Human Defense Force. These were not the old peacekeeping troops who tried to avoid fights. These were soldiers trained to win wars quickly and completely. "Remember," Tony told his troops, "we are no longer trying to make peace. We are no longer trying to protect aliens from each other. Our job is to protect human space and punish those who hurt humans." The soldiers nodded. Many of them were survivors from New Eden. They had lost families and friends to the Kethran Empire. They had been ignored by the Galactic Council. They had been betrayed by alien allies. Now they wanted revenge. Tony's communication device beeped. A message from Admiral Norton appeared on the screen. "Kethran Empire has attacked human colony on Proxima 7. 60 ships. Authorization granted for full response." Tony smiled. The Kethran Empire was about to learn what happened when they attacked humans who were no longer playing nice. "Prepare Strike Group Alpha for immediate departure," Tony ordered. "Full weapons. Authorization. No survivors." The Kethran Empire had made the same mistake they made at New Eden. They thought humans would respond the same way they always had. They expected protests and diplomatic meetings and trade sanctions. They expected humans to be weak. They were wrong. The Kethran fleet arrived at Proxima 7 with confidence. They had attacked human colonies before, and humans had never fought back hard. The fleet commander, A vicious creature named Gark the Destroyer was already planning how to divide the stolen goods from the human colony. "Begin the attack," Gark ordered. "Take everything valuable and kill anyone who resists." But when the first Kethran ships approached the planet, they found something unexpected. Instead of a few patrol boats and civilian defense ships, they faced 50 human warships in battle formation. "This is Captain Tony Lewis of the Human Defense Force," came a transmission from the lead human ship. "You have attacked human territory. You have killed human civilians. Prepare to face the consequences." Gark laughed. 50 ships against 60. The humans are still weak. Attack." The battle lasted exactly 6 hours and 14 minutes. When it was over, every Kethran ship was destroyed. Every Kethran soldier was dead. The human ships had taken no casualties. The reason was simple. For 200 years, humans had been studying Kethran technology. They knew exactly how Kethran shields worked. They knew the weak points in Kethran ship design. They knew how Kethran weapons could be jammed. The Kethran Empire had shared all this information with humans during the peaceful years, thinking it would help with diplomatic relations. Now that knowledge had been turned into weapons that could destroy Kethran fleets with ease, Captain Lewis sent a message to every Kethran military base in the galaxy. "This is what happens when you attack humans. There will be no warnings. There will be no mercy. There will be no survivors." News of the battle spread quickly across the galaxy. Alien governments that had dismissed humans as weak peacemakers suddenly realized they were facing something completely different. Dr. Ben Carter was in his new laboratory on Earth, working on a very different kind of medicine. Instead of curing alien diseases, he was creating biological weapons designed to target specific alien species. Each weapon was tailored to attack the unique biology of different alien races. "Doctor," said his assistant Nancy White, "the Rigelian government is offering us 10 billion credits for the cure to their plague. They say half their population will die without it." Ben looked up from his work. The Rigelians were the same species that had refused medical supplies when humans needed help after New Eden. They had said they were too busy to help dying humans. "Send them our standard response," Ben said coldly. Nancy nodded and typed the message. "Medical assistance unavailable. Good luck." The Rigelian plague continued to spread. Within 6 months, their population dropped by 60%. Other alien species watched in horror as a disease that humans could easily cure destroyed an entire civilization. The message was clear: betray humanity at your own risk. President Helen Foster sat in her office reading reports from across the galaxy. The Zephyrian Commonwealth was in civil war. The Veltar and Nefki were destroying each other's planets. The Talnari Federation was facing rebellion from their member worlds. Her aide, a young woman named Rebecca Davis, brought her the latest intelligence reports. "Madam President, the Galactic Council has collapsed. They cannot make any decisions without human mediators. 3 more governments have fallen this week." Foster nodded. This was exactly what they had predicted would happen. The galaxy had become dependent on human help. Without it, their societies were falling apart. "What about our former allies?" Foster asked. "The Talnari Federation has sent 73 requests for meetings. They are offering to return all the goods they bought from the Kethran Empire after New Eden. They say they want to apologize." Foster deleted the messages without reading them. Too late for apologies. Jake Morrison, now Minister of Retribution, was busy with the trials of alien war criminals. Humans had arrested hundreds of alien officials who had been involved in attacks on human colonies or who had refused aid to dying humans. The trials were broadcast across the galaxy. Aliens watched in shock as their former leaders were judged by human courts. The sentences were harsh but fair. Those who had killed humans faced execution. Those who had refused aid faced long prison terms. The Kethran Emperor himself was captured trying to flee to a distant galaxy. Jake personally oversaw his trial. The evidence was overwhelming. The Emperor had ordered the attack on New Eden. He had authorized the killing of 47,000 innocent humans. "Do you have anything to say before sentencing?" Jake asked. The Emperor, a massive creature with golden teeth and red eyes, tried to look defiant. "Humans are weak," You cannot hold us forever. The galaxy will rebel against you. Jake smiled coldly. The galaxy tried to ignore us. That did not work out well for them. The Emperor was sentenced to life in prison on a remote human world. His empire was dissolved and his territory was placed under human administration. Colonel Mary Kim was appointed as the military governor of former Kethrin space. Her job was to make sure the alien population learned to live under human rule. She was not cruel, but she was not gentle either. The rules are simple, Mary announced to the Kethran population. You will work. You will obey human law. You will pay reparations for the damage your empire caused. If you cause trouble, you will be removed. Most of the Kethran population accepted their new situation. They had no choice. Their military was destroyed. Their government was gone. Their only option was to submit to human authority or face exile to the empty parts of space. The galaxy was learning a new reality. Humans were no longer the weak species that solved everyone else's problems. They had become the judges who decided which species deserved to survive and which deserved to be punished. Admiral Norton received a message from the remains of the Galactic Council. They were begging for human representatives to return. They promised to give humans more power and respect. They offered to pay for all the aid humans had provided over the centuries. Norton read the message and then deleted it. He turned to his staff officers who were waiting for orders. Begin phase 2 of our expansion plan, he said. It is time to bring order to the galaxy. Human order. The age of human diplomacy was over. The age of human dominion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. 5 years after the Great Withdrawal, the galaxy looked completely different. Human warships patrolled every major trade route. Human governors ruled over former alien territories. Human law decided who lived and who died. Admiral Jack Norton stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Retribution. The massive ship was 10 times larger than any vessel humans had built during the peaceful years. Through the windows, he could see a line of alien ships waiting for permission to enter human space. Admiral, said his communications officer, the Zephyrian Prime Minister is here for his scheduled meeting. Norton nodded. The Zephyrians had learned to be polite when dealing with humans. Their old arrogance was gone, replaced by desperate fear. The Zephyrian Prime Minister, a bird-like creature with dull feathers, entered the bridge with his head bowed low. His once colorful plumage had turned gray from stress. His government was bankrupt, his people were starving, and his military had been destroyed trying to fight human forces. Admiral Norton, the Prime Minister said in a shaking voice, my people are grateful for this opportunity to speak with you. Norton did not invite him to sit down. He kept the alien standing like a servant waiting for orders. What do you want? Norton asked coldly. Our children are dying from the plague. We know. Humans have the cure. We are willing to give you anything you want. Our remaining ships, our territory, our treasure. Please, just save our children. Norton looked at the alien for a long moment. The Zephyrians were the same species that had laughed when human children died on New Eden. They had called it karma and said humans probably deserved it. Your offer is noted, Norton said. We will consider it. The Prime Minister's eyes filled with hope. But Norton was not finished. However, your species voted to deny medical aid to human survivors after the New Eden massacre. You celebrated our losses. Why should we show mercy to your children when you showed none to ours? The Prime Minister fell to his knees. Please, Admiral, we were wrong. We were foolish. We did not understand how much we needed humans. We thought you were weak, but we were the weak ones. Norton signaled to his guards. Remove him. As the guards dragged the begging alien away, Norton turned back to the window. In the distance, he could see Earth, beautiful and blue and protected by the strongest military force in galactic history. President Helen Foster was in her office on Earth, reading the daily reports from across human space. Every day brought news of more alien surrenders, more territories added to human control, more species begging for forgiveness. Dr. Ben Carter entered her office carrying a medical tablet. Madam President, I have the final numbers from our selective aid program. Foster looked at the data. Species that had helped humans during the diplomatic years were receiving medical aid and protection. Species that had betrayed or ignored humans were left to face their problems alone. The Rigelian population has dropped to 12% of its original size, Ben reported. The Talanari Federation has lost 6 of its member worlds to rebellion. The Kethran territories are now fully integrated into human administration. Foster nodded. And species that supported us? All healthy and prosperous under human protection. They are grateful and loyal. The lesson was clear across the galaxy. Loyalty to humanity brought peace and prosperity. Betrayal brought destruction. Jake Morrison walked through the halls of the former Galactic Council building. The grand chamber where aliens had once made decisions about galactic affairs was now a human courthouse. Alien war criminals were brought here to face human justice. Today's trial was special. The former council speaker, Zix Thera, sat in chains before human judges. She was being tried for crimes against humanity for her role in blocking aid to New Eden survivors. The defendant had the power to authorize military intervention to stop the New Eden massacre, the human prosecutor explained. Instead, she delayed and blocked action, resulting in the deaths of 47,000 humans. Zixathara tried to speak in her defense, but her voice was weak and broken. We thought diplomatic solutions were better than violence. We did not know. You did not care, the judge interrupted. You treated human lives as worthless. Now you face the consequences. The sentence was life imprisonment. Zixathara was led away in chains, just another alien who had learned too late that humans were not as forgiving as they once seemed. Captain Amy Rodriguez commanded the human fleet patrolling the former neutral zone. Pirates no longer dared to attack cargo ships in human space. The few who tried were destroyed immediately and completely. Her ships also carried a different kind of cargo now. Instead of rescue supplies and medical aid, they carried human colonists to new worlds. The galaxy was being resettled with human families who would build human cities and follow human laws. Captain, her communications officer reported, we have another surrender request. The hegemony wants to join human space. Amy looked at the message. The hegemony had been one of the most powerful alien governments in the galaxy. Now they were begging to become a human protectorate. What are they offering? Amy asked. Complete submission. They want to give us control of their military, their government, and their resources. In exchange, they want protection and medical aid. Amy approved the surrender. Another species had learned that fighting humans was pointless. Joining them was the only way to survive. Admiral Norton stood in the same command center where Operation Withdrawal had been planned 5 years earlier. The room looked different now. Instead of maps showing human territory as a small part of the galaxy, the display showed human control spreading across 3 spiral arms. Sir, reported Colonel Frank Lee, the last independent alien government has requested negotiations. The Outer Rim Alliance wants to discuss terms of surrender. Norton looked at the galactic map. Soon, every star system would be under human control or protection. The species that had once dismissed humans as weak servants would all be living under human authority. Schedule the meeting, Norton ordered, but make it clear that we are not negotiating. We are accepting their surrender. The galaxy had learned the truth about humanity. For centuries, humans had chosen to be gentle, helpful, and forgiving. Aliens had mistaken this kindness for weakness. They had thought humans would always turn the other cheek, always forgive, always help. They had been wrong. Humans were not weak. They had simply been choosing to be nice. And when that choice was no longer rewarded, humans had made a different choice. The galaxy had feared humans playing nice because it had allowed other species to take advantage of human generosity. Now the galaxy feared humans being angry because it was learning what happened when humanity stopped pretending to be harmless. In the end, the aliens discovered that the most dangerous species in the galaxy was not the one with the biggest claws or the sharpest teeth. It was the one that had been holding back its true power out of kindness. That kindness was gone, and humanity's true power was just beginning to show itself.